Okay. Cool. If someone with disabilities be able to promote the person in the venue, please. Okay. I'm gonna do it. Okay. Cool. You said let's start, Megan?
Yes, we are good.
All right. I call this meeting to order at 7:06 p.m. All right, thank you all for being here. Let's look through the agenda. Are there any amendments? All right, Eva.
Hi, for CAC, can we strike the ARC allocations? Oh, sorry, I didn't know how to raise my hand.
Nadine, in the future, I have to call on you to speak, please. I called on Eva, so give me 1 second and please go ahead and raise your hand.
Can we please strike bag allocations, and can I also add a discussion item about the UC student regent Q&A?
Yes. Okay. Now going to Lucy.
Can we please strike capital contingency?
Okay, Nadine, go ahead.
Can we strike ARC allocations?
And then Megan.
I'm going to add 2 items to new discussion. They are the office space allocation application and the office space allocation guidelines for 2024 to 2026.
Megan, did you see the Slack that Jonathan sent about USAC?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I sent out
Oh,
to add it
Jacob.
for next week. So let's hold off on that.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Sarah?
Can we strike BODL?
Of course. Okay, and then I have one more amendment. We're gonna add the ASUCLA DOD as a special presentation for today. Okay, any other amendments? Going once, going twice. Oh, Sue Jones?
I think based on my finance instructor spreadsheet, I'm gonna strike the TGMF allocations.
Sujana asked to strike wait, TM, oh my God, sorry, what?
TGMF,
TGIF.
grant mini fund.
Ah, got it. Alright. Cool. Alright, that is all. So can I have a motion to approve the agenda for today?
I move to approve the agenda for January 30th. Second.
All right, Sarah motions, Eva seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 10-0 vote, that is approved. Thank you. Now going to approval of the minutes. Hope everyone got a chance to review those from January 3rd. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes for January 23rd, 2024.
1 sec, I think, Janice. Okay, so we have a motion to have a second. All right, John's motion. Second, all fair, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With a 10-0 vote, that's approved. Thank you. All right, now moving into public comments. So just a reminder about our community guidelines, shared ideas by individuals, gender inclusive and respectful language, freedom of speech, value, freedom from accountability. We have basically each public commenter gets 2 minutes and can only speak once. And public commenter must be members of the association, meaning undergraduate students at UCLA. Thank you. And with that, we'll go ahead and open public comment. If you're here for public comment, please raise your hand in person and through Zoom. Go ahead, start here, then go to you, and then groups.
Okay, hello. Hi guys, my name is Claire from Calford. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. This week and next, we are doing our not recruitment drive. Oh my God, our fundraising pledge drive. We're gonna sign up 1,000 new dues paying members in the next 2 weeks. So far, we have 246, very specific. But as a quick reminder, CalPERG is entirely student-run and student-funded. We have around 30,000 UC student members across the state who opt in to add a $10 per quarter student fee to their tuition to support CalPERG and become CalPERG members. Super helpful because it allows us to like have a group of people that we can represent like their interests in front of people like elected officials. So for example, our lead campaign is to ban plastic grocery bags for California. We're supporting a bill that I believe is going to be introduced next week on that. And at the end of February, we're going to go lobby in support of this and other bills and represent all of those 10,000 students from UCLA and other UCs. Yeah, that's a little bit about what we're doing right now. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you. All right, moving to our next public comment in person.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sophie Wells. I'm the president of Shenanigans Comedy Club here at UCLA. We're a sole registered club, and I just wanted to mention I was told to come here by my sole advisor because we, to say we have had problems with funding is an understatement. And we've had so many problems with, we've applied to funds and then they get approved. And so we spend the money and then they tell us, oh, actually, you know what? Never mind, we ran out of money. And then we never received the funding, even though we spent all the funds in the first place. And so I just wanted to, I have all the email documented. This was an actual event that happened last year to us, the Arts Restoring Community Fund. We were approved in May for an event that happened in June. And then the weeks kept coming up. I kept emailing saying, hey, how do we get our money? This was all approved. Like, what are the next steps? And it was radio silent. And eventually our event did pass and we spent all the money on it because it was approved. And then we get an email saying, hey, we actually ran out of money. We can't give you anything. And I'm like, but we spent all the money. It was approved. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Send a bunch of emails. They're not responding. Point is my advisor told me to come and mention this during public comment because not only Shenanigans Comic Club has this happened to, but many other sole registered clubs, this Arts Restoring Community Fund. And this is the only way that we can make comedy happen on campus because we're the only comedy club that does what we do. Like, this is how UCLA students can get into the comedy department. Like, it's because of us. So I'm urging that you guys take some steps forward to make sure that these clubs do get money, our money back from last year. And thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for your time, and I definitely empathize with your situation. Alicia, do you have a response for that by any chance?
Yeah, hi. Sorry I couldn't be in person today. Could you tell me your name of your org again?
Shenanigans?
Shenanigans? Okay, thank you so much. I will talk to my funding director to see what we can do and potentially see what we can do about that allocation that you mentioned. Because we've been helping some orgs with that because our main budget ran out of money, but one of our other accounts didn't. So we've been transferring funds to make sure that those allocations that that you mentioned could get covered even now. But yeah, but also just for everyone to know, we are hiring right now for ARC staff. So if you want to bring that up to your own committees to see if they'd be interested in helping run the fund, that would be great. And I will get to talking to my funding director about it so that we can reach out to you, figure out that that requisition and stuff. But thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention that, right. When AAC was dealing with an allocation from last year that wasn't like processed in time, and that org also went through, I think it was Hooligans that went through something similar where they were approved and then didn't get money. we were told for the small portion that came from an AAC fund that, because it was like the next year, our option was to apply for surplus, like a USAC council surplus budget, to fulfill the allocation. So, like, hopefully that is still an option. And so there are other ways that we will definitely make sure that we do some kind of get your money.
One thing, I will refrain from making that an option, but we could talk about it offline. Thank you. Okay, moving forward, any other people for public comment, just checking the Zoom room? Okay, with that, we'll be closing public comment at 7:16 PM. Thank you for people that came out today. I really do appreciate it. Moving forward, let's go to funding. Starting with contingency programming, Lucy.
Perfect, thank you. So I will be pasting this in the chat, but this week we had a total contingency programming request of $28,702.34, and we recommend an allocation of $9,142.22 for 27 non-USAC entity and 1 USAC entity related events. Happy to answer any questions. And then, yeah, I'll paste this in the chat right now. And then again, like all of the details for the amount requested and the amount that we recommended is all on the universal allocation sheet that's linked on the agenda. But I just pasted that in the chat.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion, preferably from someone that can see the chat?
I motion to approve the contingency programming allocation of $9,142.22 for 27 non-USAC entities and 1 USAC entity related events.
All right, make a motion, Katie seconds, all fair, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstained, please raise your hands. Open 11 to 0 vote, that is approved. Thank you. SFS allocation, Chi.
Hi, so for SFS allocations, we had a total requested amount of $10,073 and a total allocation of $6,240. With 3 USAC entities approved and 4 non-USAC entities.
Thank you. Is there any opposition? That's approved. Thank you. All right, moving forward with SWC programming fund allocations.
Hello, okay. So this week, the SWC programming fund received $1,500 in requests from 2 USAC entities and $2,090.29 from 4 non-USAC entities. We recommend an allocation of $1,100 to the 2 USAC entities and $1,500 to the 4 non-USAC entities. And I will drop that in the chat right now.
Thank you. Is there any opposition there? That is approved. Moving forward with grassroots organizing for working students grant allocations, Eva.
Hi everyone, for the GROWS grant, EVP would like to allocate a total of $1,478.56 to 1 non-USAC entity.
All right, any opposition? That is approved. Moving forward, ASRF allocation, Sujana.
Yes, this week AAC allocated $475 to 2 non-USAC entities.
Thank you. Any opposition? That is approved. Moving with TGIF. Is there any allocations there?
Next week.
Okay, cool. Skip, no allocations. All right, moving forward. We have our special presentations, ASCCLA BOD. And yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Elia. I am a fourth year. You've probably seen me before. I'm the finance committee chair for the ASUCLA board. We're just going to be providing again our periodic updates so that we're in good communication with you all and make sure we're collaborating. And I'll let Tara introduce herself and take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Tiara. I'm third year here at UCLA and I'm one of the undergraduates on the board. So we have a couple of updates to share. I'm going to start off and let's finish off. So starting off, we have the Palcat t-shirt design contest proceeds. So on February 13th, we're going to be presenting that shirt. Second, we've expanded our CalFresh acceptance. Now we've included Blue Valley in the health sciences store, and we're planning on including Hilltop in the upcoming exhibition. So the next update is on using meal swipes at ASUCLA stores. I know that's something we had briefly last year and it was taken away. We are collaborating with housing to ensure that we're able to do that again. We're currently waiting on housing's approval. I think you all might have seen on Instagram, we had the inauguration for the Bruin Reflection Space launch. We're super proud of this. This was a collaboration between a lot of student groups, the university, religious groups, student affairs, and also ASUCLA. And we're going to be having a grad fair at Ackerman A-level from April 16th to 18th. And we'll have a bunch of vendors who are able to meet graduating students. And also, we're going to have our quarterly entities meeting coming up on Friday, February 2nd. So I hope to see you guys there.
Perfect, thank you, Tiara. So another update on our wonderful Student Union Services Director, who will now have open office hours and meetings available for USAC and GSA officers to connect with Daniel Lewis. In terms of our capital projects updates, noteworthy completions and ongoing projects include the North Campus roof, Kirkhoff Ackerman Union waterproofing, and elevator replacements. We have a grant proposal for an internship stipend. So we've submitted grant proposals to secure funding for an internship stipend position in student government to help USAC function properly. In terms of funding initiatives, we're actively pursuing efforts, including a student union fee adjustment to bolster funding for student employee wage increases, subsidize food costs at the market, and support the remodeling of existing spaces for 3 additional resource centers. And lastly, in terms of our campus master plan collaboration, we're collaborating with various campus partners to initiate a center of campus master plan to introduce additional student activity spaces and facilities. Once this initiative is launched, your input, feedback, and guidance will be crucial. So all of that being said, I want to open it up to questions for you all. And yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really do appreciate the updates. We'll go ahead and get started. Jonathan.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about
Sorry.
I wanted to ask about the resource centers. Do you know if whether Latinx resource centers planned at least on your guys' behalf? I know that right now, at least the HSI initiative is working on a different space that would technically be on the hill instead, but I wanted to hear if that was in your guys' plans for a bit.
It is in our purview in terms of one of the focus areas we want. Of course, we don't want to do anything in a silo. So we've been working actively to reach out to these different student groups who would be potential beneficiaries of our project. So we're in this active process of meeting with these communities, getting their input, and ensuring we're on the same page. But yes, that is one we're focused on.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys for coming in. Really appreciate the communication. I was just wondering about, I believe last quarter there were talks about increasing the like meal swipe ticket, whatever, to $10. Is that still happening?
So from my understanding, I brought that concern before too. From what I know, that's something that UCLA Housing currently needs to approve. I can get an update for you and let you know. I don't know exactly where we are with those talks with them.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Hi, I was wondering, wait, I have two questions about funding for a student intern for USAC. Do you have any more like details on that? Because this is like my first time hearing about it.
Okay, I actually don't, but I can get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you. And then my second question is, are you able to send me the notes for the presentation, before like a week before, so I can put it on the agenda?
For these updates,
Yes.
yes, and I'll send you these ones just so you can put it in the record as well.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Awesome. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate your time and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you so much.
Hey. Moving forward with appointments, it's been a while since we've done these, so just a reminder, our appointments for tonight will be a 1-minute introduction, then there'll be a brief question and answer period, then a 1-minute closing statement. We can still continue to hear our recommendations for actually all of these appointments, so yeah. And then we'll do deliberations and vote, except for that first one, because it is a consent item, so we don't need to vote on that. All right, we'll start with our first appointment with the Student Conduct Board. Okay. Actually, yeah. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay. Go ahead and come on up to the mic. Is there anything? Alright. Would you like to give an introductory statement or are you cool?
Just give an introductory statement.
I'll take an introductory statement.
Hi, I'm Tanya Kishore. I'm a first-year poli-sci major from Sirius, California. I use him pronouns. I would like to, I think I'd be a good fit for the student conduct board because I really think that there should be, that all students that come in from the student conduct board should be given a fair hearing. I know oftentimes that the student conduct process at UCLA it really feels like the vice chancellors and the deans and all the administrators are really the judge, jury, and executioner. And I just want to make sure that the students that come in from this, that come in from the board, especially marginalized and underrepresented students are given like a fair shot, and also making sure that they're being provided with the resources and also being like let known of like the processes and like appeal processes and also like other types of support that they can get. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate getting to hear from you. Okay, is there any opposition to this appointment? Thank you. Congratulations. You are appointed on the board. Okay, Student Fee Advisory Committee, it's been a long time coming. Thank you so much. Oscar. In person, online? No, let's see. Ooh, giving wall, okay. Well, we tried. Okay, moving forward, we have Facilities Commissioner. Come on up.
Hi all, my name is Nalaya Canary. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a third year majoring in molecular biology and minoring in public affairs. I'm currently the chief of staff for access and infrastructure projects in FAC, and I'm applying for the positions today. Having been in the commission for over 2 years now, as well as like residential life, new student academic programs, student media, and a lot of other campus boards, I have a pretty strong understanding of our institution and a good connection to my peers. Through working in FAC for over 2 years, I've explored my interests in environmental justice, accessibility, transit, and student affairs. FAC has also given me experience in outreach, both within the student body and the greater LA area. And I've also learned what it feels like to join a very passionate, diverse, and kind community. And I feel like I'm a good fit for this position because of my understanding of the office, my experience celebrating and advocating for diverse groups, and my passion for elevating students' voices and accommodating their needs. Every student has different priorities in their life. And frankly, sustainability, disability justice, and advocacy and infrastructure aren't really always at the top of those lists. But FAC exists to lead projects and advocacy in these realms and to uplift those values. And I feel very ready for that work. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Okay, brief thing. Oscar, we're going to come back to you after this appointment, okay? Thank you so much. Okay, so now we'll open up to a question and answer period from council members. Feel free to ask questions. Sarah.
Hi, thank you so much, for coming to council. I have, two parts, two questions. I think the first one is, I guess, like, with everything, on top of everything that you do separate from that, how do you plan on, like, on balancing that with USAC, specifically with, like, the, like, I guess, like, time constraints of USAC, and also, like, I don't know how to phrase this, in it, like, the mental health constraints, I guess, of USAC? And two, how do you plan on engaging with, USAC council members at the council table, specifically if they're like, when you like are dealing with conflict or anything like that?
I think something that I can say of like a lot of UCL students is we wear a lot of hats and we participate in a lot of different groups and it only makes us stronger. I've been like so fortunate over the past couple of years to like interact with so many different groups and like do a lot of different work. And even though it's a lot of work, I feel like I am able to kind of balance that by, you know, regular time management skills. I'm also just beyond fortunate to have an incredible like executive board on FAC, and we've been having a lot of conversations over the past couple of weeks about delegating work and how we're going to kind of change things moving forward, because regardless of the results of tonight's appointment, regardless of what happens to like the rest of the year, it's really important that the commission stays working and functioning in those projects that we're working on, which are really important to me and the rest of the commission continue functioning. So we've kind of already been having the conversations about delegating work, and I feel pretty confident that we'd be able to do that moving forward in a way that wouldn't strain any one person too much. In terms of the second part of your question, I am very well aware that I have not like been in this space and I would be pretty new. So I would like to take the opportunity kind of to like learn from other council members, learn from past commissioners, of which I have like a great connection to, and kind of learn how to approach those conflicts. I do have a lot of experience with conflict resolution as an RA, as an NSA, an LA, like all the acronyms. So I feel pretty lucky in that realm to be able to kind of use my skills to respond respectfully while still like asserting my position and advocating for students that I feel need to be advocated for in that moment.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other questions from council members? Jonathan? Hi, so lovely. Hi, so lovely to have you. I would like to ask more along the lines of how do you kind of plan to take care of yourself or, you know, handle this? I definitely can attest it's definitely a lot of work, some more than others. But I just wanted to ask you, like, you know, how do you intend on balancing taking care of yourself? Because that's a really important part. And, you know, we'll be here to support you, but also like, I'd like to hear from your part. Like, how do you plan it for yourself?
Well, these are really sweet questions. I think that, again, I'm so fortunate to be in the position that I am because I've met so many different people and I've learned a lot of skills along the way. Definitely, with my like major being a little bit more intensive and with my kind of roles in other spaces being a bit more intensive, I've had moments where I've kind of had to like step back and reevaluate like how much effort I'm putting into everything. Something that is very important to me as a person is just like giving 100% of myself into like anything that I commit to. So I am committing to this role with the intention of doing the same without kind of losing myself or losing myself in other work. I have already stepped back from a couple of other positions in my life. So I will not be like writing in a news magazine this quarter or next quarter and things like that. So I can kind of like accommodate for the time and still take care of myself. As for my self-care habits, I love taking long walks and reading good books.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, yeah, you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here and for stepping up to, you know, run for this position. My question is, you know, given the pretty short like time left in the term, what are your priorities? You know, what are the key things that you want to accomplish before your term ends, if you're appointed?
If appointed, definitely my biggest goal is to kind of maintain and empower and strengthen. My goal is to carry through the facilities commission work for the rest of the quarter, for the rest of the year, and to make sure that we have like good transition documents, good transition, like everything, so that whoever is going to be taking the commission next year is well prepared, and that, you know, none of our project directors, none of our incredible exec team is like left hanging. I coming in late to the role, I don't have a goal of like changing anything. More than anything, I kind of want to just make sure that we're able to kind of go with the flow for the rest of the year and like deal with whatever comes to us with someone at a council position.
Thank you. And looks like we have our last question by Alicia.
Yes, hi. So you've worked in FAC before, right?
Yes.
Amazing. So how do you plan to wait, give me one second to word this question. How do you plan to properly um allocate funding that um that acknowledges the intersectionality between environmentalism and sustainability with BIPOC communities and events, but specifically like Black students, specifically like Latino students, especially with like environmental racism and all that, especially in Los Angeles too. I hope you could understand, but let me know if you have any questions.
I think I understand. Something again, y'all, you're gonna hear fortunate and like grateful. All those words for me so many times, but the chairs and the members of the TGIF committee that are currently appointed, I think are incredible people and have been doing the work to maintain that fund's kind of reputation as a functioning body for now. We've been able to like successfully allocate funding, and I'm excited for that work to continue. Something that is very, very important to me is environmentalism, especially kind of addressing environmental injustices across a lot of different marginalized groups. With my personal experience, I've been in so many different roles that have allowed me to interact with people that are diverse across age, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, so many different backgrounds that I think have given me a lot of kind of ability to empathize, interact, and learn from others. Something that is that I'm also very aware of is like people of marginalized groups and oppressed groups are like kind of tired of having to continue sharing their concerns and like not feeling heard and feeling like they have to take on the burden of guiding people to the right place to give them resources. So that's something that I would want to be very, very wary of. I think something that my goal again for like the rest of the quarter is like obviously maintaining FAC and also TGIF, but I would want to kind of strengthen our connections to a lot of identity-based orgs and a lot of cultural orgs as well, so that I can ensure that funding is being allocated to Black student groups and Latino student groups that kind of need the funding so that they can express their identity and be celebrated without fear of retaliation or anything like that. So that's something that I would be working on with my TGIF chairs and committee members that are, again, dedicated to the BIPOC community and diverse and celebrated that way.
Thank you. Alicia, is there a follow-up?
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say that from like one of my series is like applied to funding for like an environmental like concert we were gonna have, and what's it called? CAC would be the most diverse office in USAC, and we just didn't get funding for like our art component of it, and I just wanted to like bring up that like the event is gonna like we're having trouble like making the event happen, so like I just wanted to bring up that like concern from one of my concert series about like funding, but thank you so much for answering that question.
I'm more than happy to look into it, Alicia. I'll definitely reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time. With that, we'll go ahead and close our question and answer period. Now, if you want to give a 1-minute closing statement, that would be great.
It's not only the commuting, environmentally aware, or disabled communities that benefit from a more accessible and sustainable campus. It's all of UCLA. And though the Facilities Commission's work isn't always that loud, it is always very important. And I feel prepared to execute our commission's commitment to UCLA students and their experiences here. Because of my connections to and experience in various student organizations and UCLA departments, I feel capable of connecting diverse communities and representing my peers' interests. Having been a part of the commission for over 2 years now in various roles, I am well aware of its inner workings and its significance within the greater USAC and UCLA administration spaces. And having learned from 3 phenomenal FAC commissioners, I know how to be a strong leader, and I want to be the facilities commissioner to continue the incredible work of our office. More importantly, I want to be the facilities commissioner to help craft a future UCLA that promotes student advocacy, creates tangible change, and supports students even more effectively. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much. Okay, so did ARC want to give their statement? Did y'all make a statement?
We don't have
Yes.
a statement, okay, or do we? I'll let Nikki talk, because she knows more than I.
Yes. The ARC vote is 2 to 0 to 1, 1 being abstained, primarily because I know Nalaya personally. And our statement reads, as one of the chiefs of staff in the facilities commissioner's office, Nalaya has an integral role in the office, with this being her 3rd year. In fact, she has the institutional and long-standing knowledge required for the role of commissioner. She is involved in multiple long-term projects in the office, such as the Lily Shaw Disability Cultural Center, Prince Rupert Transit, Sepulveda Transit Corridor, and more. Her involvement on campus with being an RA in Res Life, NSA, and student media and cultural organizations emphasizes her passion for students and advocacy. With a 2 to 0 to 1 vote, we would like to happily recommend Nalaya for the facilities commissioner position.
Thank you, ARC. Appreciate you. All right, we'll enter a brief deliberation period. Are there any questions, comments, concerns from council members before we vote?
I just want to say, I think she makes the most sense, sorry. But I think she just makes the most sense. I think, considering just how important the work for FAC is, as she mentioned previously, and we need to fill this out. We need to fill the FAC commissioner as soon as possible. I think it only makes sense to have someone who's already with the institutional knowledge and the awareness needed to continue the work as best as possible. So I think we should vote yes.
Thank you. Megan?
I had to abstain because, once again, I know Nalaya personally, but I really do think that she is the perfect candidate for this position. She knows the most about the commission at the moment, with this being her 3rd year. In fact, she knows the ins and outs of it, as mentioned in her interview. Yeah, I just really think that this makes the most sense right now, and we are down to the last day of the 21 days that we had to appoint someone. So yes, please vote yes.
Megan is too real. I understand. Yes.
It's really funny that you laid out the situation, because you're right. Well, yes, but I just want to say that you're so like well spoken, and I feel like you really said like everything like we want to hear, and so I just see no reason why we wouldn't take her on onto council, and looking forward to hopefully working with you.
You, last but not least, Alicia.
Yes, hi Nilay. I don't know you personally, but I really enjoyed listening to your responses tonight, and your just willingness to fill in this position says a lot, and I'm really excited for you, like as a woman of color, to be taking this office, because just of a lot of disparities that a lot of communities of color face with regards to accessibility is major. So I just would suggest that everyone also votes yes on appointing you. But thank you for coming.
Thank you. Okay. Can I have a motion?
I motion for Nori, to be voted in as the facilities commissioner for the remainder of the facilities commissioner 2023-2024 term.
John, one motion, Sarah seconds, all in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. So the 10 to 0 to 1 vote is approved. Thank you so much. Next steps on our sheet.
This just here now, or?
Sorry. You're welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting, however, until we can get you sworn in by one of our chief justices, which will hopefully be next week once they answer my emails. That'll be done. Thank you so much.
Did she get a record?
Forward. Okay, now let's go back to Student Fee Advisory Committee, Oscar. And go ahead with your 1 minute introduction whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Oscar. I'm a first year economics major. I plan to perhaps do another major in applying mathematics. This will help me with a few mathematical foundations and statistical reasoning that will be super interesting and super helpful for me to pursue my job as a student fee advisor today. So I have a very robust background in economics because I just secured the international championship from the National Economic Challenge 2022, and I also have championed from different economics Olympia, whether it's national wide or it's international wide. I'm very much interested in all about the finance and all about like, the community because I think that personally I'm not going to invest in banking as my career. So all the knowledge and the frameworks that we work with the finance and we work with the FFAZ are kind of common. So I think that is a very good opportunity for me to apply the knowledge that I acquire from all the learning processes. My economic insight will aid me to analyze different sources of economic data, and I'm very much proficient with the use of Excel modeling. So this is one thing that I think is super important, as we mentioned in the 2019 to 2020 continuity book. And I'm very much excited to ensure that our decisions are both economically sound and beneficial to all students, and to take needs of all the minority students and minority community. And I want to be part of a community to ensure that our fee is allocated in a fair way and in a most equitable way. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we will enter into a question answer period. Questions from council members. Sujana?
Hi, Oscar. I have two questions. So, the first question is just how you found out about this position and what made you interested in joining this committee specifically. And then the second question is just, once you're on this committee, what is the work that you want to do? Where do you see room for improvement when it comes to student fees? And, what about student fees specifically would you do better in?
Yeah, honestly, for the first question, I'm very much interested in student fee advisory committee because it kind of is very much kind of like corresponding to what I'm learning. And then I also have worked in the community department in my high school. So I've been working on like how do you allocate the fees among different student clubs, because we have like not as many clubs that we have like in UCLA, but we still have like tens of different student clubs. So I have this experiences into managing like how different organizations should be meeting their needs and the resource allocation that we have. And the second reason I really want to join Student Fee Advisory Committee is that I heard from like people, for example, the speech that from the comedy like the club, and I see that the problem is that although like 90% of our referrals and suggestions are being adopted, we still have like the needs and some of the demands are not being fulfilled. So I really wanted to show my kind of interest and show my own ability into how to make the fundraising process more fair, and then to make the entire process in a more equitable way. And then addressing to your second question, how can this degree very much improve? I think that sending out in kind of an outsider perspective as I was now, it's kind of too hard to say that there's any areas of improvement, because I see that 90%, as I mentioned, 90% of the advices have been taken. So it's a very strong statistic saying that most of the work are being very effective. However, I also read the continuity book. It's also suggesting that during the pandemic years, we see that the temporary funds and the amounts of funds that we have in our hands that we can actually allocate is actually reaching a very it's kind of declining from 6 million amount to like 2 million amount, which is such a dramatic decrease. So I'm very much interested in how we can actually allocate the funds in a more efficient way. Like how can we care about all the different devices? One of the very interesting thing I want to do is to reach out to different people, like to do professional outreach. Because I've been doing professional outreach for my own career, for like since I was here. So I'm very much proficient in that. And we can take in the forms, for example, like the surveys and then like in-person coffee chats or anything like that. So that will really allow us to know the exact demands of each department and then to avoid situations like some clubs have their funds approved but not delivered. So that will be my answers.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Hi, Oscar. I hope you're doing well. So I believe even though UCLA has like one of the lowest student fees among all UCs, I still see like room for improvement in the fees. So specifically, just for example, for the seismic fee that we pay $37 for like the reconstruction of Ackerman Kirkhoff, do you see that as a response? I think we've been paying for like 15, 20 years, something like that. I don't know. Do you see room for improvement in like older fees that that were passed by, you know, student body a long time ago that we're still paying for? Or do you have any interest in like going through the fees and, you know, suggesting improvements or changes to USAC or just the student body in general?
I have a question, like what do you mean by older?
By over fees?
Older.
Oh, like fees, because like ones that have been passed by student bodies that like were, you know, like students that were college like 20 years ago. Like for example, I think the seismic fee was passed by, it was a referendum, I believe, right? Yeah, by like the student body. But I don't know what it was, but I know it was like it was a decent amount of time ago. And yeah, like, you know, like we're still paying for the construction of this earthquake building. So I was just curious, like what your thoughts were on fees that, you know, just making sure that the money is still being used for what the students voted for it to be used for.
Yeah, definitely. We should think about like, we should definitely reevaluate about like whether or not the fee should be very necessary for us. So we can actually categorize our funds because our funds have been cut during the pandemic years. We should actually allocate into like urgent funds and then non-urgent funds. So in this way, we should be definitely prioritizing these funds to the urgent parts of the business. For example, like some of the construction that are near to the end but haven't been like fully completed and fully paid. We should definitely prioritize on that. In terms of the buildings and the old building and reconstructions, we should definitely review about their overall progress, like whether or not it's reaching the end, whether or not what kind of progress it is. So in terms of all the urgent funds, we should definitely prioritize our funds over that. In terms of the non-urgent funds, we should definitely see whether or not the fund will be sustainable in the future, like whether or not like. For example, the community, like we are standing right now for the 2023 to 2024, whether or not our plan will be approved in the future. So that is also a question we need to answer, ask ourselves. So in terms of the funds, I divide it into urgent and non-urgent. Urgent definitely need to pay, and then non-urgent, we definitely need to reevaluate about its necessities.
Thank you. Now feel free to go into your 1 minute closing statement.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so thank you for everyone for listening to my speech and then considering my application. I'm very much honored to be here, and it's actually my very first time to be in such a very formal occasion. I'm very truly enthusiastic about the process of contributing to USAC, specifically Student Fee Advisory Committee. And I believe that my economic background, combined with my deep commitment to student community, because I'm also an Asian by myself, I know some specific needs that are not necessarily satisfied here. So I have this connection to some of the, not the minority, but some of the major communities. And this will offer me very valuable insights into our financial decision-making processes. I'm also very much willing to contribute to such a diverse community and then to make my own efforts into it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's hear ARC's recommendations.
ARC voted on this position with a 2-1 to 2-1 to 0 vote, and our statement reads, Oscar Yinshin provided a very professional interview and application. He showcased a great deal of passion for student support in finance and really emphasized his finance and accounting background. He is passionate about transparency and ensuring that diverse student voices are heard in the recommendations from the Student Fee Advisory Committee. With a 2-1 to 0 vote, we would like to recommend Oscar Yinshin for the Student Advisory Fee Committee.
Thank you. So now we'll enter into a brief deliberation period. I just want to say thank you so much for not only applying, but to have a wonderful interview, especially being the first year, correct? I really do appreciate it. And I'm hopeful that if you are appointed, that you can also continue in this role outside of the rest of this academic year. But yeah, I really do appreciate it. I really love what you had to say. And yeah, any other comments, questions? Okay.
Yeah, I just want to echo Naomi's, what she just said, because, you know, you're very knowledgeable and it shows that it definitely, we can tell that you put a lot of effort into preparing for this role. And I just want you to know that, you know, we noticed it and I think that you would make, an excellent addition.
Thank you. With that, can I have a motion? Sarah?
I move to appoint, Oscar Shent for the Student Fee Advisory Committee for the 2023-2024 school.
Thank you. Yeah, second. Sarah motion, Jonathan seconds, all in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstained, please raise your hands. We'll put 11 to 0 vote, that is approved. Congratulations, Oscar. Last but not least, we have one more appointment tonight, a very important appointment. We have our USAC Elections Board Chair. Give your 1 minute introduction whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Milan Lee, Konashi Hers. I'm a 4-year-old majoring in political science and molecular and developmental biology. And I'm applying to be the next elections board chair. I am applying mainly because USAC has been a very, very integral part of my UCLA experience. I served as the IVP last year, which was a very, very foundational experience for me as I learned about the various facets of USAC, including elections board, while I was running as a candidate. But this year I had to take a step down because I actually went to Washington, DC, working with the US Senate. And then now that I'm back, I would love to kind of re-enter into this USAC space, and help with like running a smooth and successful election. As a previous candidate who sat on the other end of elections, I can see a lot of room for improvement, for just elections board in general, to make sure candidates feel supported and to get more students interested in kind of participating in elections. With my previous experiences, I know I have the foundational knowledge and expertise to handle this role, the foundational knowledge and understanding of election events and the elections code from my time as candidate, as well as the foundational communication, organizational, and administrative knowledge from my time at IDP to connect with the student body and also help candidates navigate this process. I am so very excited to speak with you all today and happy to take questions. So thank you all so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, so now we'll go into a brief question and answer period. I don't know who went first. I'm just gonna go down the road. Sarah, Gabby.
Hi, first of all, thank you so much for being here. I think one of the most challenging things with eBoard is voter engagement and voter turnout. So do you have a plan or a vision for increasing voter turnout?
Yeah, so I think my main vision for elections board this year, honestly, is to first kind of work with candidates. I think you all were candidates yourselves, and I was a candidate when I was a sophomore, and navigating that process was actually so hard in terms of like support and resources, especially if you weren't a part of USAC previously, or you didn't have that foundational knowledge. So I think that, and that kind of poses the problem of like less engagement from campuses, from students who are not really affiliated with USAC or don't know about USAC, like South Campus. I'm at half a South Campus major, so I know that, you know, a lot of people don't really pay attention to elections and everything in that purview of campus, but if we can focus on kind of candidates and giving candidates who are kind of untraditional and kind of like they want to run to represent their community more resources, they can actually engage with that kind of with those students and kind of encourage more engagement from students. I think it's a really powerful thing to see students who have share the same identities as you running USAC elections, and I kind of want to kind of increase engagement from candidates and just like more marketing from candidates and giving candidates more resources to run to kind of engage with the community and get more engagement from a more holistic part of campus. Other than that, I think reaching out to other campus organizations like a lot of the cultural organizations as well as just student organizations on campus could be really, really helpful to promote more engagement with students and of course a lot of marketing. I know that another thing that's an issue is also funding. So just a very, very careful allocation of where funding goes that elections board has. But I really want to just give a lot of resources to candidates so that they can kind of reach out to the communities that they're targeting to increase more engagement.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Hi, Noah. How are you? Thank you for coming. So my question is, as you know, the last few USAC elections have been contentious and more trouble. So how do you plan, like, if placed in a role where that were to follow again in this election, what role do you think the election board has in mitigating that, and like what I guess like campus partners do you think you could like work with or anything like that to deal with the situation if it would arose amongst candidates?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely aware of all the issues that arose in the previous few years, and I know that that's something that's very, very unexpected. But I think the main thing to handle crises is just communication with elections board and USAC, and then elections board and J board, elections board with administration members. I think that last year just because it was a very, very difficult situation to handle. I think there could have definitely been more communication from elections board with other kind of entities on campus to kind of help navigate that process. Of course, I don't know what's going to happen this year, but the main thing that I want to do is just maintain like a transparent communication with what's happening with elections, with like USAC and judicial board with administration to make sure that everyone kind of knows the situation and we can kind of assess it as it comes. But I'm planning to kind of show up at USAC meetings and maintain a very, very constant kind of line of communication with USAC and the administration here to make sure elections go smoothly.
Thank you.
And then
Yes, so this question right? Yeah, so this question just builds on Gabby's question, but there is one specific rule that I wanted to ask about. And so actually maybe SGA can help with clarifying if it's a UCLA specific rule for elections. But I think one aspect I found when I was running was that the flyer rule really limited our ability to campaign and also to inform people of the election going on. So we can't campaign or flyer on the Hill, and then we also can't put flyers up anywhere permanently. We can only hand them out. And so I just feel that those two rules specifically, along with the fact that there's already a very narrow specific group of people following the e-board and USAC accounts, and not a ton of people reading the Daily Bruin for the election news really either, except Reddit, can that rule specifically be changed? How would you feel about that rule? And then also I guess it is about that rule specifically. Gabby already kind of covered it, but I wanted to ask what you thought.
Yeah, I'm very well aware of the rule that you can't campaign on the Hill. And I was not aware of putting posters up on buildings. I believe that's a question for more facilities. But I would love to kind of expand to the Hill. I know that we do host our debates on the Hill. But I think it comes with a question of accessibility and also equality with elections when it comes to the Hill and also campaigning on campus, since not everyone kind of lives on the Hill. So I think we can definitely look into that and revise and make sure that expanding these services and expanding the different capabilities of candidates can also maintain a fair re-election so that all candidates have the opportunity to kind of campaign equally and no one has like kind of advantage over another, but I'm definitely happy to look into that, and also work with USAC and administration, to kind of revise the elections code on that.
Shout out to my commuters. Okay, we're gonna go to Eva and then Alicia.
Okay, so I will admit I have one-sided beef with elections board. Um, so I just want to preface that, but so I have a couple of questions. So if I could, like, I guess have a follow-up meeting with you later to like ask. I don't know. I don't want to take up anyone's time, but I did want to address a couple things. First, last year the debates were not recorded, and that was a huge accessibility issue. And another accessibility issue, like our reimbursements were put on our Bruin cards. So like I got sushi with my e-board money, rather than cold hard cash with goods. So my question to you is, if you can commit to recording and making debates publicly accessible, and if you can also commit to having reimbursements to candidates be via check.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very straightforward kind of answer. I'm definitely committed to that. With my previous experience as IVP, I have always strove to make things very accessible. With all my events, considering a bunch of student populations, and a lot of my events were recorded. When I was IVP, so definitely I can make sure the debates are recorded as well as any other event. I'm not quite sure why they weren't recorded. I will be so honest with you, but I also had beef with elections board when I was a candidate. So, and then I can assure you guys that your reimbursements can come as a check instead of a Bruin card deposit. I don't know why that happens, but I'm happy to look into it. And I'm happy to, if elected, meet further with you to discuss any improvements, and also all of you too, because I know on the candidate side, there's a lot of improvements that can be made that weren't really exactly considered by elections board in previous years. So I'm happy to take any back.
We'll go to Alicia and then we'll go to Jonathan, I believe.
Hi, Milan. Good to see you. What was I gonna say? Sorry. Okay, so last year, the advertisement for like the flyers, the small ones that were like run for USAC, and like personally, I'm concerned with the way they marketed it, like the orange ones, because it's a like 10K stipend, and therefore like I feel like that makes people want to run for the stipend and not for the actual like position, if that makes sense. Just because like, does that mean like people are really coming in to like do what their roles are meant for kind of way? So how, my question for you is like, how would you advertise, promoting like getting people to apply to run for USAC, and how would you advertise like the elections? Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is something that I definitely thought about a lot while I was choosing to kind of run for this position. But yeah, I kind of want to change it up to kind of, I think that's my main vision, is to kind of change up how we kind of recruit candidates and also get more kind of candidates on the ballot. I think for elections, people say like, oh, $10,000 stipend. So a lot of people kind of apply because of that. But then when they actually get into the race, they kind of don't know what they were signing up for. I'm one of the, when I first applied to USAC, I wanted to run to make change, but I did not know what I was signing up for in terms of like running and making a campaign and everything. So I think that a better way to market elections is to give people the resources to know what they kind of signed up for, and to be able to better market themselves. I know that there are a lot of students on campus who want to make change and they have all these great ideas. But when they see elections, they just see a really, really huge time commitment that they just don't have time for. But to kind of demystify the running process, give the students the opportunity to kind of learn how to maybe make a social media kind of campaign and how to campaign on campus, and make sure that students feel like they have the capacities to run, and also the resources and the support from the elections board, something that's really, really important to me. I think that's a better way to market it than like a $10,000 stipend and then students run and students don't really even know where to start with building a campaign and everything. So I kind of want to support more candidates in this process, and also make elections board less of kind of a regulatory body, but also a support body for candidates who choose to run.
Thank you. Now, Jonathan.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you if you had any plans of potentially addressing, issues of corruption that could come up in instances where potential people who are running may, kind of find themselves entrenched in certain economic and social situations where they kind of bend so forth. If you've had any thoughts and considerations about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think this kind of goes back to Sarah's question of like a bunch of the crises and like different situations that could have arise. It's something that I'm definitely aware of that could happen. And I definitely, the one thing that I want to do to kind of address this is to make sure that there's a constant line of communication between elections board and USAC and elections board and J board, elections board and administration, so that we can all assess that situation and kind of figure out how to proceed. Another thing that I kind of want to do before elections start is to look into the elections kind of code and make sure that there are more specified terms, conditions in terms of like what could happen in the case of specific things arising. And then, but yeah, that's something that I definitely want to work with USAC since you all were candidates before. I'm kind of talking on your experiences and revising the elections code with that, as well as administration, to make sure that these revisions are something that's possible. Mainly I want to make sure to kind of revise elections code to have a guideline of how to kind of address these situations. And then while these situations are happening, maintaining a direct line of contact between USAC or elections board, USAC, J board, and administration to make sure that we can mitigate these situations.
Thank you. Okay, now you can go ahead into your 1-minute closing statement.
Sure. Okay, well, thank you everyone again for this interview. Just to recap, USAC has been a really, really important part of my UCLA career. And I'm applying for this position because I really want to make sure that UCLA has a strong set of student leaders to represent the greater student body in the future. As a student leader myself, I would really like USAC to continue to have strong student leaders to kind of promote change on campus and advocate for the rest of the student body. I know that we're working on a tight schedule because I believe I've recommended this position last year in the fall. So I know that we're working on a tight schedule to kind of make the elections calendar, hire the other elections board representatives, and then just get people to run and kind of work out all those logistics. But I know that I have the resources to do this. As a graduating senior who I actually have my post-graduation plans already, I know I have all of the time and commitment to kind of put into this role, and I really, really hope that I have the opportunity to make sure elections run smoothly and we can have a really, really strong set of student leaders next year. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, let's hear ARC's recommendations.
ARC voted Milan with a 3-0 vote. And our statement reads, Milan showed a great deal of passion towards the elections board chair role with innovative ideas and potential changes from previous elections. As someone who experienced and survived running her own election and the elections process herself, she's fully aware of where support is needed and how to provide it as the chair. She understands the implications of this year's upcoming election and the need for an accelerated process, and plans to work with USAC to ensure that this year's elections can be smooth and successful. With a 3-0 vote, ARC highly recommends Milan for the USAC Elections Board Chair position.
Thank you. All right, so now we'll go to our brief deliberation period. I will kick us off, and if other council members would like to speak, feel free to do so. I know her very well. Worked with her last year. I know her work ethic. I know she is very prepared to do this role. I believe she definitely has what it takes, has the experience of running her own election campaign and successful as IVP from last year, and definitely knows the feedback of having her own qualms with the elections board, as many of us have as well. I think she's ready to hear our feedback as well that we had during the summer with that doc that even other folks were working on. And you definitely have me as a resource if you are appointed tonight, in making sure that you have a full staff and that we are working well together in order to have a successful election for this year. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll bid it to other folks. Sarah.
Well, I don't like, I also last year, and I just wanted to +1 everything Naomi said. She was such a pleasure to work with and always very on top of everything. And with I think a role like the elections board chair where you sort of have to be on top of a lot, I think she would do it super flawlessly and super well. And also, if you need another resource, I'd be more than happy to help. But yes, I will be voting in favor, and I hope everyone else does too, because I think it'd be amazing vote.
Thank you. Megan?
I'd like to say I highly recommend everyone to vote yes for this appointment. Milan definitely is like a very reliable and dependable person. From my experience with working with her when she was IVP and I was a director, I know she definitely has the capacity and the resources to get this done, and I'm just so grateful that she applied for this position, just because we're on a really tight schedule and she knows like how we need that accelerated schedule, and like we need our elections calendar and everything kind of approved very quickly. So I highly recommend everyone to vote yes.
With that, can I have a motion?
I move to appoint Juan Lee for the USAC Elections Board Chair for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
All right, Sarah motions, Gabby seconds, all in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. With 11 to 0 vote, you are approved. Congratulations. Thank you all so much for helping us get through appointments today. I really enjoyed hearing y'all's questions. And so now we'll quickly go into officer reports. Please keep them short and sweet. I really appreciate it. As for the past week, I got back in Ohio, actually the Ohio University. Which a student went to conference with several EVP staff members. We had a really amazing time working with other folks, and we made a TikTok that will be posted shortly. But we also, me, Eva and Megan had a meeting with Generation Up today to discuss strengthening an on-campus community oversight board. I had a UCLA Southside implementation committee. We wrapped up our junior student interviews. I signed up to participate in the ASUCLA talent show. Recommend you all. And we will be having a meeting with Vice Chancellor Monroe Horton to discuss the proposal for the $7 million allocation from President Drake. We onboarded our supporter interns, and we've done some other things, and just some other, we'll be posting the remaining appointment applications that we have left, which are just a few, including the Distinguished Teacher Award, which have an applicant ready to go. All right. Besides that, I continue to encourage you all to have your appointments ready. And also, I would just like to say, I hope we can have quorum at 7 p.m. next week on the dot. I really appreciate it. Just sets a good standard. And yeah, I'll pass it on to our IBT Megan.
Hi, the Appointments Review Committee conducted 5 ARC interviews since the last USAC meeting, and we currently have 1 scheduled this week for a Student Conduct Committee. I'd like to highlight the following positions that need to be filled as soon as possible. ASUCLA Communications Board, 2 for Office of the President and 1 for Transfer Student Representative. Student Fee Advisory Committee, and that is 1 Transfer Student Representative. And the Distinguished Teaching Awards Committee, and that is typically appointed by Academic Affairs Commissioner. I'd like to remind everyone that the off-campus housing fair is tomorrow in the Ackerman Grand Ballroom from 11 to 4 p.m. It's gonna be there for a while, so please share the graphics, and then if you know anyone looking for an apartment, please lead them towards there. We have an ASUCLA Entities Meet and Greet this Friday, February 2nd from 3 to 4 p.m. in the art gallery. Ackerman Viewpoint Conference Room or some, I think. Please send someone if you are not able to come. I have, my office is hosting an administrative meet and greet on Wednesday, February 21st from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Please send someone if you're not able to come. I met with Gen Up today with Naomi and Eva to discuss a potential new campus committee. And then a couple committee updates. We're planning to have a funding workshop week 6. And then my pre-professional committee is working with Tyra and the Black Business Student Association for a LinkedIn event, I believe. And then we are finalizing details for the True Bruins Raise Awards ceremony. We're gonna be at ACA's Lunar New Year Festival on February 9th in Covell Commons at 7 p.m. So come by if you want to write little notes and get candy for Lunar New Year. We're happy to say we have 9 interns this fall. And then I think that's it.
All right, Eva.
Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. Sorry that I yap all the time, so I'll keep this short. EVP this past week was in 3 different places, which is kind of slay for us, but not for SGA. We were at the UC Regents meeting in San Francisco at UCSF where we gave public comment and we'll be presenting about the Regents and what they talked about at the next meeting. It was honestly super interesting, to say the least. We were also in the Ohio State University with Naomi, as well as the Students of Color Conference at UC Merced. We took like 50 people there, and so I'm really proud of that turnout. We've been doing a lot of stuff on the external side of things, and so it's all really on my written report, a lot of local, state, and federal things. So I really encourage y'all to check that out, but I just wanted to mention a couple brief things. First, with Michael Beck, I'm reviewing UCLA's time, place, and management policies regarding on-campus protests. I've sent this to FSA and MESA, and just because I have connections there, but I definitely want to send it to other student groups and they can submit written feedback to Michael Beck about it. This was mentioned at our last meeting with him, so I encourage y'all to start going to that. It'd be great. And the second thing I wanted to mention is, as it's posted on our Instagram, we are taking signups for our student lobby corps. However, I did want to say, because I know there was a lot of commotion about it at last meeting, but I just wasn't here to address that commotion. There's only so many seats on a bus. So, it's not guaranteed that you get to go to Sacramento if you sign up, just because we already have more signups than we have seats. But I still encourage y'all to sign up anyways, because Sacramento is not the only trip that we will be taking lobby corps with. We have a lot of local, lobbying plans, specifically with CD5 and our LA County Supervisor, LA Metro Board, Assembly members, state senators in the area, yada, yada. So please sign up, but I just wanted to put that on the record because I know that everyone wants a little free trip. And yeah, please read my office report. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
My report's all written today.
Thank you. Gabby?
Same.
All right, Jonathan.
Hello, hello. So I have a couple comments, but most of my, in the weekly officer report as always, I had the privilege of being able to attend the Students of Color Conference. Thank you, Eva and Merced. It was really interesting to hear all of the efforts going on by UCSA, as well as the problems that other schools have and how we're able to collaborate with one another. I think it's really important to kind of hear what's going on in our sister schools and how to support each other. I also just more than anything do want to give a statement on what happened recently with Opportunity for All. So what has happened with Opportunity for All is absolutely shameful, and the Regents should feel extremely ashamed of themselves for failing UC students yet again by not being able to provide for thousands of students an opportunity to provide for themselves and gain important work experience. Anything but shaming the Regents about this is complicity in the continued ostracization and mistreatment of undocumented. So I urge you, I plead you to talk about this. I have family who's undocumented. Some of the people I love the most in this world are undocumented, and they just as much as every single one of us in this room deserve the opportunity to work. They deserve the opportunity to adequately make a living for themselves. So it is quite repulsive that the University of California would make such a promise and not be able to uphold that. But yeah, I just think it's really important, and it's an issue that is really personal to me. So I just really wanted to highlight that. In terms of the platform work, I did want to highlight an uptick that my office has noticed. So we have been providing free masks and hand sanitizers for students, but we have been noticing that these masks in particular have been flying off the shelves very, very quickly. So we're kind of a bit concerned, thinking that this may tell that there were certain patterns going on with students maybe being more sick. And we're going to be continuing to provide these resources for the student body for the rest of the year, but we're just wanting to notice that there's an uptick in need for masks, and especially considering UCLA is reducing the amount of resources it's providing to students. Besides that, I will be meeting with a couple UC Berkeley students to talk about a bicameral resolution that will be passed simultaneously, hopefully through ASUC and USAC in the near future. We'll be collaborating with some offices here. Very excited for that. But yeah, thank you all so much.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, now moving to Sujana.
I also have my written report, but some significant things that we did last week was that first we met with DSU to discuss AAC's support on a COVID informational campaign to kind of be like in complement to the new ASH campaign that is rolling out. And as an update for anyone who may not know, regarding the COVID resolution that was passed last quarter, we are we have been able to successfully get approved a new program with the ASH Center and with Strategic Communications to have a new like signage program and mask dispensers at locations around campus that is going to roll out for sure at the end of like winter and spring quarter. That was all like really thanks to the hard work of the Disabled Student Union, Janice, ASH, and everyone involved. So that's really fantastic. Regarding the new Bruin One plan that was presented at council last week, I am also just working on being able to give students information on that, and I am planning on putting on a town hall where students will be able to come and ask members of the bookstore questions directly about the new program. Even after last meeting, I got a lot of questions from people who were concerned about having to pay that much, especially delivering and using books. And so I can tell that there's a lot of questions people are going to have about this change. I also was following the decision regarding opportunity for all, and that's definitely like a major priority for the Academic Affairs Commission. We in the educational side of things are definitely going to be trying to increase public awareness, but also just supporting the undocumented student network with whatever it needs, funding and manpower and publicity. We were approved to like receive meal tickets from ASUCLA for a kind of like TikTok idea we had where we were going to ask students like on Bruin Walk questions about USAC and council funding and other things just to promote public knowledge of USAC. Hopefully it will work well for election season. And then lastly, regarding Academic Senate, at the undergraduate council meeting, I advocated for a student representative to sit on a general education task force, basically just a new one to review the structure of gen ed courses and how we'll be receiving credits for that. And like at first there was no plan for a student to be on the task force. It was presented to us by the Dean of Undergraduate Education, and I just raised my hand and like asked if it would be possible to have a student on it, and they said yes. So it was just nice that it went that smoothly, but also showed me how important it is to have a student there in the room because so many task forces, et cetera, get created without student reps, and then you can't go back and get them added, and that's what makes it so hard. So I was glad I was there for that. And okay, maybe the last thing is like on that note, in Academic Senate, there is a new ADT program that was passed, which in case you don't know is the associate degree transfer program, which was a bill that was passed in California, which I'm trying to like find the information for like really quickly right now. But it basically is some sort of quota where if you attend a California CC and get an associate's degree, to a certain extent and meet certain requirements, you're guaranteed admissions to UCs. So UCLA has been selected to pilot this program with 8 majors. And right now we're advocating for a student rep to get on that task force. And that's kind of been a struggle.
Hi everyone. I only have 2 things and the rest is on the dock. The first is our most upcoming event is Afrofest, which is this Saturday, February 3rd. From 12 to 5 p.m. in Wilson Plaza, and that's our collaboration with the Nigerian Student Association. So we'll have dance performances going from 2:30 to 3:30, and the headliner will be starting at 4 p.m. And the tickets are linked on my officer report and also on our Instagram at UCLA-CC. And then next week we have a screening on Wednesday, February 7th at 7 p.m. at the Landmark in Westwood, and that is Lisa Frankenstein. And that's all I have.
Hi everyone, I've been in updates, but the main announcement is that from Wednesday to Friday this week, we are hosting Houses Days of Service. Basically, we have a 3-day event where we are trying to educate the UCLA community about housing insecurity in LA and provide avenues for students to be involved in advocacy as well as direct service. So on day one, which is Wednesday, tomorrow, we'll have a bunch of student groups at Wilson Plaza from 12 to 2. On day two, from 4 to 6 at the Denef Plaza Room, we will have a panel of different external speakers who will be discussing policies regarding housing in LA, as well as research and advocacy. So we will also have like student groups such as Hunger Project who will be presenting on various workshops. We have a letter writing activity to write to our elected officials. And a bunch of discussions and also free dinner. And also shout out to EVP, who's also part of that event. And then on day 3, on Friday, we have 5 different volunteer opportunities happening in the morning. We have Westwood care package making. Oh, sorry, this is the one that EVP is part of. Care package making in Westwood. We have care package making that will be distributing in Santa Monica. We are also working with Safe Place for Youth to tend to their community garden. Sorry, 2 more. We are working with Midnight Mission to serve meals and start donations, as well as homes for families to build affordable housing for veteran families. So a lot of opportunities to volunteer. It's a good way for you to come out with your office, to volunteer together and to learn a little bit about this social justice issue. So strongly encourage everyone to come and spread the word. Thank you.
Thank you. That sounds amazing. Okay, Alicia?
Hi, everyone. I also have written updates, but I'll just go through them really quickly. Right now, we have an incredible gallery up in the Kirchhoff Art Gallery. If you guys are ever in the building, which you are, please stop by to see it. It's actually insanely beautiful. And tomorrow we're going to have like kind of our gallery opening because we're gonna do a word on Wednesday to do a spoken word night to function as like a healing space. So please come if you would like. But actually it's not gonna be 6 to 8, it's gonna be 7 to 9. So it's just gonna be a little bit later. But yeah. I'm also we also have kickoff for Hip Hop Congress happening this Thursday. We're trying to change the time just because it'll be raining on Thursday and we wanted to have lowriders. So I'm working that out with Chris from Seoul and seeing if that's an option. But if not, it'll happen from 11 to 1 in Bruin Plaza and it'll be amazing. And you should stop by on your way to class for free merch, and to know about our programming for Hip Hop Appreciation Month, which is February, which is also Black History Month. We are also in the works of planning a house music event in collaboration with House of Bruin, which is really exciting. We just need to finalize a date for that. But we have a venue. We just need to find the date. That's from our concert series. We're also doing something for Lunar New Year with World Fest. World Fest traditionally happens in spring quarter, but they wanted to do something to honor and celebrate Lunar New Year. So that'll probably happen around week 5, probably February 7th. We also moved our film and panel event that is a part of the HHC lineup of events to February 26th, just because of UCLA Res Life. We were trying to book the Northwest Auditorium for it. It's one of those two. They couldn't do the date we initially planned, which was to February 8th. So yeah. But we're getting our panelists soon. We are also working with ESA, the East African Student Association, on doing collaborations, one of them being a trip to Little Ethiopia later this quarter, or just finalizing the week. We also have ARC allocations open, so please promote that to your staff. promote that to your friends. It'll be closing on February 5th at 11:59. So please just let them know that. It's also on the Instagram. We are also planning an art workshop next week for lino cutting. Lino cutting is basically like stamping, basically. Like you carve out a design and then stamp it with paint or ink. And we use that to make some of the designs we have for the gallery that we're having this week. And other than that, I do want to highlight to Jonathan and to Jonna's point about overall TAC condemns the decision made by the regents. The fact that students had to starve. I wasn't able to be here last week because of an emergency, but I hope that it was brought up that students were literally on hunger strike in order to like pressure the regents to know how serious this is. The fact that they didn't follow up on their commitment from May 2023, which was a unanimous vote to create a plan for equitable student employment at the UC, is actually unfathomable to me. The fact that it's called opportunity for all and not work for all is because students just want to apply to jobs. They just want to, they don't like, even if they get rejected, having the chance to be rejected is a privilege. And fighting for labor rights on this council includes fighting for undocumented students. So I hope I see more action from us as a council to do something about this issue because it's still ongoing, and Undocumented Student Network and ideas at UCLA still needs us. So personally, I'm trying to draft up a resolution if anyone would like to work with me on that. And I am also trying to plan an art-centered event for undocumented students by undocumented students. So working with ideas and undocumented student network across the UC if possible. Yeah, I just want to say that I'm extremely upset, extremely sad, just because of how touchy this is. Even USAC, there's so much we can do beyond like condemning this decision. For example, like Jeffrey was booted off of board of directors a year or two ago for being undocumented, and the USAC space is not inviting towards undocumented students enough to become a part of this council, which is extremely abominable, and extremely institutional, traditionally institutional for the UCLA status quo. So I hope that we can work with Milan to change that and to hopefully get some representatives that are undocumented next year because the action needs to happen. But yeah, thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Sarah? Janice?
All of them were prepared except for our peer support lounge project open this week. So our office is open to all of you guys too, but we're doing two special events. So donuts tomorrow at 10 a.m. in room 308 in Kirkhoff, and then Noah's Bagels at 10 a.m. the next day, so February 1st. And we also have like a cute little rolling cart that we filled up with free Plan B, free period products, free condoms, and like pencils and SWC stickers. And we're putting that in the hall every time our peer support lounge is open. So feel free to grab what you need also. But maybe, Jonathan, we can talk about adding masks to that. I can help on that. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, I believe we have a proxy for TSR today. Gillen? Sorry if I mispronounced it now.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Hi. For TSR, it's our mental health week. Our theme is gonna be a transfer love to play on Valentine's Day, and we're gonna have a Sanrio Day, a transfer town hall, and more. And then there's resolutions to observe Transfer Mental Health Week and get more transfer specific staff and resources for campus. Oh, just give me one moment.
Moving on, Orlando.
Okay, no problem.
Hello, everyone. Just a quick update, and I know we're going to be talking about it a little bit later. This is the UC region recruitment. If you know anyone's interested, you can direct them towards me, especially if they can't make the Tuesday, February 13th? 13th, thank you. Town hall. So that includes just general information that people may have. I can even assist with the application itself. If they have any questions, you please feel free to direct the students towards me. Last week, we also had our one-stop event for our registration. If groups fail to re-register, if you know anybody, please direct them towards me as well. We can't work with them. We won't shut them out. We'll just need to work with them on registering them by spring quarter. And that is all I have. Thank you.
We have a few cuts off sick. So next up, we have Jonathan.
Hey, hello, it's Tuesday. Welcome back. I don't need to leave, so I don't know why I said that, but welcome back. Just a couple things from me. Reminder from SGA, to, if you are a funding body chair, or to please pass on to your funding body chairs, that anytime allocations are made and then approved by council, SGA needs those so they can issue your amendment codes, and then you can let people know. So I know they've been reaching out to a couple people this week that they have not heard from, and have not gotten their allocations from. So we cannot, give any groups their money until you give us those allocations. Thank you for being diligent about these remaining appointments. A new one that I want to highlight this week is the drug-free schools appointment. That one has come around, but great to hear about the distinguished teaching. Yes. There's two. There's yours, and then there's an overall USAC. Yours is settled. It's the overall USAC one that's not. Okay, thank you. Also, from SGA, reminder that next Friday is your last day to turn in fall requisition forms. If we don't have them by Friday, accounts will be closed and you will be forfeiting said money. It's more for funding allocations than it is for your office budgets, but still anything from fall, end of next week. If you have yet to respond to Emily about your one-on-one, please do so. I am happy to report that I've had multiple one-on-ones since I made my sad declaration last week. So thank you for following up. And then last but not least, if you were not here in person last week, but you are here in person this week, could you raise your hand?
Does Zoom count or?
No, if you were not in person last week, but you're here this week, can you raise your hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm gonna go and grab, I have off-campus procedure cards for you all to physically have. So I'm gonna grab those before this meeting is over. And please feel free to take a look at those. I know that Naomi brought hers to The Ohio State University. That's right. That's what we like to see and hear. Jessica has been out sick the past couple of days, so if there's anything that you're waiting on from her, please feel free to come to me instead in the meantime. Otherwise, my door's always open. Have a great week.
Thank you. Okay. Quickly, old business. So this was from last meeting where we weren't able to vote on it. So hope we were able to review it, so we can do this pretty quickly. So John, is there anything you want to say about this, or that's self-explanatory?
Just like explain like. Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, but I'll just say it again, that Books for Bruins is like different from TGMF and ASRF because AAC is not necessarily required by bylaws to provide this fund. And so these funding guidelines are more like just customary and to help applicants than anything. That's also why there's like no set amount, for example, for each quarter, because that also changes and is just up to each commissioner. And so that's why this is a lot more bare bones, but it's just the most important part is what materials you will and won't fund, because that matters a lot.
Amazing. Cool. Can we have a motion to approve these guidelines?
Motion to approve the books for Bruins, guidelines.
I second.
All right, John, motion, Sarah seconds, all in favor, please raise your hand. Please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All same, please raise your hands. With 11-0-0 vote, that is approved. Thank you. Now we're going into new business. We have Eva leading a discussion on UCC reagent Q&A.
Hi, everyone. I know we all want to go sleep, but I wanted to have this discussion here because none of y'all responded to my emails. As Orlando mentioned earlier, the student regents are coming to UCLA, and part of this is because the application process for the new student regents round is coming up, and EVPs help in voting for them. Regent Tesfaye, and who is a UCLA PhD student, and the student designate, who would be our regent next year. They're both going to be here on February 13th. And so EVP was asked to help coordinate a couple things, and that's why I'm bringing this to y'all's attention today. First, they want to schedule a 60-minute meeting for all USAC for all 15 of our offices to have a 60-minute meeting with them. So one for all 15 of us to chat about what we want. And so obviously we all have like a lot to talk about. And so I was thinking that we could set an agenda for this meeting so we like actually get things covered. And the second thing is that they are doing a town hall. I think Seoul is more organizing that than I am. So TBD on that, that's not my business. But what I wanted to really specifically discuss today was what y'all would want to talk about at this potential 60-minute meeting with our student regents. And I can set a Wednesday to figure out the best time in the day that they have specified for us later. But does anyone can anyone you can also raise your hands and say if you want something added to that agenda so I can get started on working on that.
Can I ask what the email was titled?
No, I said I'd do this discussion so I don't have to send an email.
Oh.
My bad. Yeah, no email has been sent.
Oh.
My apologies about that miscommunication, but yeah.
All good. Lucy has their hand raised.
Yeah, could you add overall?
Yeah. Okay, overall.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
Gabby.
Can we add, please, can we please add, addressing safety on campus, specifically in terms of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism? Yeah, please.
Can we add the UC-wide commitment to HSIs by 20? Well, actually, they didn't specify specific year, but the UC commitment to HSIs and promoting Hispanic Latino initiatives.
Sujana.
This is kind of like, I mean, I'm working based on what I've observed like at the UCLA campus specifically, but can you add like a discussion point for like the budget cuts as a consequence of like the TA strike and everything after like in departments at UCLA that financial strain has led to like cutting sections, removing those completely, removing commencement ceremonies and much more. So yeah.
Is there anything else?
I mean, I guess this isn't good. No. Okay, I would also want to talk about the transfer pilot program, because I think that's true.
I think what I think what EVP will be discussing is kind of continuing a discussion they had at the Regents meeting. this past week regarding, UCAN and, region advocacy in response to the governor, Newsom's, budget cuts to education, which are anti-SLAA of him. So we'll be talking about that. Does anyone else have any recommendations for what this agenda they'd like to talk about? I have everything that people said so far, and I think we'll have time for everything.
I'll probably send you an email later, but probably, J3 from that region.
Oh, yeah. Is that all? Anyone else? Thank you all so much for saving me the time of sending an email. I appreciate it.
I was just gonna send it to me.
Oh. Not even everyone's here. All right. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.